Good day everyone, this is the Creators Lodge and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time coming across my channel, please do well to like this video, do well to subscribe, turn on the notification button so that when next I drop a tutorial video like this, YouTube will notify you. Alright guys, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you all how to create a church flyer like this with your smartphone. Now, as usual, I'm going to be doing the breakdown of the design and then we're going to go straight into the design. Now, when you look at this design, it says 12 days of prayer storm and a castle. All right, and then when you look at the background, I got a lot of messages of people saying that I don't know how to create background when I want to do a design. Can you do a tutorial, teach us how to create backgrounds during design, what we need to know. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that when you want to create a design, maybe a church flyer design or whatever design you want to do, you have to first understand, the essence of the design, what the design is about, the content of the design. That is what will energize you to understand or to know how the background of the design should be. Now, for me, I wanted to create a spark. I wanted to create something that will communicate, something that will look fierce, fiery and dangerous. All right. So I looked at it, was the best color to use for design like that. I said, okay, I'm going to make use of the red color. All right. And then I looked at it, what can I do on the background of my design that's going to make it look that fierce, that fierce feel. So I said, okay, I'm going to do something like fire, particles and someone in agony or in pain or someone traveling in the background. Now, when you look at the background, you are going to see a lot of fires, more like fire particles, and then you're going to see someone praying in the background, and the theme says prayer storm. So when you look at the background and then when you look at that person praying, you see that the name is aligning with the background I used for this design. All right, so you do not just use background because you feel like, you use background because the background is speaking about the theme of whatever design you are doing. Same also goes for business designs. You want to do a business flyer or a flyer on maybe UI UX design, you need to ensure that your background at least says something about that content or the theme of the design that you want to do. You don't take backgrounds abstract of the names of the design. It has to align with the design. All right, and then this design, the background has a few manipulations, not so many, just a few manipulations, of which I'm going to be working on. Now, I must say that at some points in this background, creating this background, I did this design not immediately when I did this design. That was when I did the tutorial. So I tried getting one of the backgrounds I made use of in this design, for this design, but I couldn't get that background. So, but then nonetheless, we're going to flow. All right, but the bottom part of this design, there is one more background I had to have. All right, so but I couldn't get that background. All right, more like a light effect. All right, so we're just going to go on with the design without that, and do not worry, it's going to come out nice and well. So let's go to the PixArt application where we'll do all the background manipulation, and then this design is A4 size. All right, 3508 by 2480. So this is an A4 design and this is A4 size. So let's get into the design. All right guys, so these are the backgrounds I'll be making use of for this design. So I've inserted this size. So if you want to understand what I did, the first thing was I went to Pixellab. All right, I changed my size to A4 size, 3508 by 2480. So I had a plain background, just a white background, and then I saved the image as ultra, and then I inserted the white background in my PixArt application. So this is the PixArt application. All right, and these are the elements I'll be using. So I'm going to move this up here this way first. I'm going to move this here this way. I don't need these ones for now, so I'm going to move the 3. I'm going to just increase the size of this first. So this is the first background. All right, so I'm going to increase the size of this background this way, like this. All right, so you have something like this, and then I'm going to bring in the next background that I'm going to be making use of, which is this. All right, so I'm going to bring in this, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to erase softly the top of this background, erase, reduce the hardness, increase the size, zoom out, all right, and then erase the top of this background softly, and then you mark once you are done. And then I'm going to increase the size this way. All right, I'm going to increase the size this way so that I have something like this. Can you see this, guys? So I'm going to move this up a little. So I'm going to have something like this. Yeah, like this. Okay, going to increase the size a little bit again so that I can have something like this. All right, so I can decide to check the blend. Let's see if we need to blend anything, if blend is necessary. All right, so let's check it out. Okay, so before we start blending, I noticed that the bottom part of this design here, so I'll just bring it down because I noticed the bottom part is showing white. All right, so let's check out the blend again. All right, so lighting is good. Can you see lighting? Lighting is a bit good. All right, lighting is a bit good. So let's leave it at lighting. If we need to change the blending, we'll do. All right, we'll do. Now the bottom, the background that I inserted. All right, now this background here, the first background I inserted, I'm going to show you guys. So this first background that I inserted, what I want us to do is I want us to change the blurriness. All right, because it has breaking pixels. If you are familiar with my tutorial, you understand what I'm saying. All right, the way it is, it's not sharp. So, and usually when my background is not sharp and I want to make use of it, I don't want it to look like the image is not quality. So what I do is I just blur the background. I just make it blur a little bit, about 15%. So that way it will look more presentable than the way it is. All right, so these backgrounds I got them from Pinterest, but usually when you get your backgrounds from Pinterest, they are not usually sharp in quality. It looks like it's blurred, it's not cool to use. So what I just do is I just blur a little and it gives it a perfect feel. So I've selected the background, so I'm going to click on FX and then I'm going to choose blur, and then I'm going to choose radial blur. So you have radial blur this way. Now this is the size. You can click on the radial blur again. You will see normal blur 20. So I'm going to click back and then I'm going to mark this. So I love this radial blur. So now let's bring this up again here. So you have something like this. All right, now this manipulation I'm doing might not look exactly like the design that I did, but it's going to look about 99-98% like the background of that design. All right, now the reason is because I did, like I said, there's one background that is missing. All right, I couldn't get it, but I'm trying as much as possible to still retain almost, to make it look almost like this design that I did. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the other images. Now we're going to need them now, so I'm going to bring in this first image here, which is this praying image. All right, so I'm going to bring in I don't think it's the praying image first. Let's bring in this fire, this light fire image here. Now let's change this to blend. Let's change this to screen. Let's see, either screen or lighting. So I think lighting might go. Yeah, so let's change to lighting. Now I'm going to reduce and I'm going to click on my eraser tool, and then I'm going to blur the bottom part of this this fire image. Yeah, just blend it a little bit, not too much. Just blend the bottom part a little bit this way, and then increase the size, and then you have something like this. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this image, but right now the image is behind. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just delete this and import it again from my gallery. Alright guys, so here's the image. So I'm going to bring it here, and then I'm going to click my blend. I'm going to check which blend is cool for this design. Alright, so I think, let's see, multiply, screen, let's check out lighting, and let's see if lighting is going to be cool for this design. So I'm going to increase the size again and see if lighting will be cool. Is lighting cool? Let's see again. Okay, so I think screen might work well on this design. I think screen works well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size this way, and I'm going to erase the bottom part of the image. And now why I'm always erasing the bottom part is because these images have sharp ends. All right, so and then leaving it this way on the design is not blending well when you leave it this way on the design. So you have to just erase whichever part you want to blend to the design. All right, on the design you have to just erase that part and then it works well. Now I'm looking at this. Is not giving me the exact thing I want. All right, so I'm looking at this, is not giving me the exact thing I want. So let me click on the fire effect. Let me see if we can change the blend, and if the blend can help us reflect this image well. All right, so that's what I'm trying to work on. Let's see. I'm trying to ensure that the image is visible. Okay, so this is overlay. Let me check out the fire effect and let's see if we can find what works best with the overlay of the image. It's not working. So like I said, it's been a while I did this design, so I'm trying to get everything right. Yeah, so let's stay with lighting and let's click on this image. Let's choose do we work with screen? Do we work with screen? Do we work with screen? Let's see. Opacity, going to reduce to about 75. Okay, so what I would do in order for it to be effective, reduce the opacity of the fire, the fire background, just reduce it a little, and then I'm going to, so just reduce the opacity of the fire background, and then I'm just going to place this here, this image of this young man here. So I'm going to place this here, and then you have this praying image, but I'm not exactly cool with the praying image. Okay, I love this. Yes, so I'm going to work with this, add. So the praying image, you are going to change the blend mode to add. So because I want the person praying to be projected well, I want it to come out well. So that's what I've been looking for, and I've gotten it now. So your praying image, please make it add, and then the fire particles, I reduce the opacity to 75, or you can even leave the opacity to 100, so you don't have to reduce the opacity. I've gotten what I've been looking for. All right, so your opacity should be 100, and then your blend should be lighting, and then you are good to go. Now there's one more background that ought to be at the bottom of this design, but I couldn't find that background, so we'll work with this. All right, so once you are done with this is how I created my background. So you can see that all I'm doing here is just ensuring that things blend well. All right, that's just what I'm doing here when it comes to working of the background. And you can decide to change the hue of the fire particles. Now the reason why you are changing the hue of the fire particles is so that the color of the fire particles can blend well with the red on this background. Now when you leave the fire particle when you leave the hue of the fire particle at 0, you will see that it's a bit yellow in color. So but when you move the hue, all right, when you move the hue this way, you will notice that it's now having that feel of red. But don't let it be too much, in the red color should be too much. Don't let it be too much. All right, so I'm going to make use of -15, and then I'm cool with this. Now once you are done, you are going to mark this. Now once you mark this, you can now save your design and download, and then we're going to go back into the Pixellab and we're going to make use of the design that we have saved. So let's save this and let's go back to the Pixellab application. Alright guys, you're welcome to the Pixellab application. So this is the background that we've saved, and then this is the original design. Alright, so this is the background that we've saved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing the text. Alright, so the first text I'm going to write is the text prayer storm. So I'm going to change this text. Alright, I'm going to insert the text prayer storm. I'm going to click OK. Now this prayer storm, you need to make sure that it is centralized. So I'm going to bring this to the middle, bring it here. I'm going to change the color to white. All right, and then I'm going to change the text to a font. All right, so the name of the font is Contrast. All right, Contrast semi-bold at the bottom, Contrast semi-bold. So I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to click on align, and I'm going to click on the middle alignment. All right, this way. So I'm going to mark this. I'm going to increase the size. Now another thing I want to do is to click on style and then click on bold. Now the essence of this is to further bolden the text. prayer storm. So I'll click on style and I'll click on the letter B to bolden it. All right, now the space, the line spacing in between the prayer and the storm is a little bit much, so I'm going to reduce the size, the line spacing this way, and then you have your prayer storm, which is this. All right, so we're making progress. Now let's go on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write text, and I'm going to write the word anakazo. All right, anakazo. All right, so I'm going to place anakazo here. I'm going to change the color to white. All right, I'm going to change the color to white, and I'm going to change the text. The font I'm going to make use of is Cinzel. So let's use Cinzel bold. All right, let's use Cinzel bold. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to increase the size this way. Is it Cinzel bold? No. So let's change it to Cinzel. Let's check out Cinzel regular. All right, Cinzel regular. Great. So let's make use of Cinzel regular, and I'm going to centralize this way. Can you see this, guys? Now I'm going to copy this text, and I'm going to write the 12 days of let me check the text again, what I wrote there. Let me take this to front. 12 days of prayer storm. All right, so I'm going to change this to 12 days off. So I'm going to write 12 days off. So all capital letter. I'm going to bring it here. Now this prayer storm, I think that it will still go down a bit. Let's see. Yeah, it will still go down a bit, and I might have to reduce the size at some point, but let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. So I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to change this 12 days off. I'm going to change it to a font, and the name of the font is Big Shoulder. So I'm going to click on the Big Shoulder. I'm going to choose Big Shoulder display bold. So I'm going to click OK. If I don't have to use bold, I'm going to know, So I'm going to click on spacing. Increase the spacing this way, reduce the size, increase the spacing this way, like this. All right, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to ensure that it aligns with the prayer storm. All right, so that's what I'm trying to do. So you have 12 days of prayer storm. Let me reduce this prayer storm. I still feel like it's a little bit big. So I'll have to also reduce this 12 days off. So I'm going to centralize this way, reduce again, centralize this way, so you have something like this. Now let's change the color of the 12 days off. So I got that color from just pick a color, kind of a yellow color from the background. Can you see? Or you can pick, you can pick from the background. So that was how I got that color. All right, so yeah, something like this. Let me check out this color if it's what I want. So 12 days of prayer storm. So you have something like this, guys, and then you're good to go. Now let's keep going. Now the next thing we want to do is to bring in the charge icon. All right, now once I bring in the charge icon, I'm going to delete the letter A, because the charge icon just replaces the letter A. So it's going to be prayer, but then there's a charge icon there. That charge that looks like battery is full. All right, so I'm going to delete the letter A, but once you delete the letter A, it simply means that the space is going to be closed. So I'm going to have to give 2 spacing, and then I'm going to click OK. Now if the 2 spaces, if the space that I've given, by 2, if it's not enough, would increase the space. So let's bring in the charge icon, and let's also bring in the logo of the church and also the image of the minister. So let's do that from our gallery. All right, guys, so these are the these are the elements. I've brought in the elements. So this is the name of the church. So I think I'll have to change this to white. So I'll just change this to white. All right, yeah, so let me see, change it to white, and let me add shadow, and let me see what it looks like. So I'm going to add shadow to the king's house. Just drop down the shadow, drop it this way, reduce the size of the shadow. Let's see what it looks like here. All right, so yeah, so let's see what it looks like. Now this is the image of the minister. So I'm going to bring this here, reduce this size this way, bring this here. All right, and disclaimer, this is a fictional design. All right, so I'm going to bring the name, the picture of the minister here. Now these are charge icon, so I'm going to click on erase, and I'm going to erase, so automatically it erases the white color. All right, so I'm going to increase, and then I'm going to reshape it. I'm going to crop this out. I just want this alone to be on my work, so I have something like this. So this is the charge icon, guys. So we can even pick the color of the 12 days off from this charge icon. So we can do that. Let's do that and see what it looks like. All right, so let's pick it from the charge icon, and then let's click OK. So you have this. Yeah, so you have this. All right, so I'm going to reduce this charge icon this way a little bit. So I'm going to place it here a little bit. So just reduce a little. So let's move this way. I think that the color is too harsh. So guys, I'll have to change the color of the 12 days off. All right, so let's make use of the color we used previously. Just let's see this. Yeah, so I love this. So let's just make use of this color. Yeah, so let's change this color to this also. Awesome. So you have this 12 days off. All right, 12 days off. Let me see if there's need for a shadow behind this 12 days off. All right, so let's see. So you have 12 days off. Now you just bring the 12 days off a little bit closer to the prayer storm, but not too close. All right, a little bit, not too close. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'll just increase the brightness of the minister a little bit, increase the contrast, increase the brightness a little, increase the contrast a little, so you have something like this so that it will look more glaring. So I'm looking at this logo and I am feeling like we should just leave the color at black. All right, just that I try as much as possible not to play with black on this design. So but I'll just leave the the logo at black color, and then I'll make the shadow invisible. All right, so you have something like this, Anakazu, the name of the church, and then you have this. All right, so let's move up this 12 days, and then let's move this up like this, and then let's move this up, like this. Yep, like this. All right, great. Now the next thing, I'm going to create a shape, just a white shape like this, and then you have something like this, and then I just bring it down. All right, so it's not doing something, it's not doing something quite specific. Someone just want to ask, why are you doing a white line like this? It's just for me. I just want to create a demarcation just like this, something like this. All right, so it's not a big deal, I just want to create kind of demarcation like this. All right, so I'm looking at these 12 days. I'm looking at these 12 days. Let's just go with the last color we used. I'm looking at these 12 days and it's looking like it's not visible. All right, it's looking like it's not visible. So let me see this. Let me see. So before the end of the design, I will know if we should stay with this or not. Now let's do something else. Now the next thing we need to do is to write a text, edit the text, and then what we are going to put on this text is start with the venue, which is this. All right, and this is the venue. So I'm going to place the venue here. I'm going to change the color to white at first, and then I'm going to change the font to the big shoulder font. All right, so I'm going to write the big shoulder display bold. So I'm going to write this like this, and then you have the venue somewhere here, and then I'm going to change let me check out the original design to see. Yeah, great. So I'm going to change this color, just this color here. You can decide to change this color here to something like this. Can you see this, guys? So to just give it more beauty, you can decide to change this color here to something like this, and then I'm going to copy this again, and then I'm going to change this to the date and the time. So I'm going to change this to 10th to 21st of May, and then you have it somewhere here like this. Now I'm going to make use of my meter rule so that I can align what I'm doing. All right, so you bring this here, you move this, you bring this way like this way, yeah, like this, move this here. All right, awesome, like this. Awesome. So I'm going to copy this text again, and then I'm going to change to the time. So I'm going to pick my time, 9 p.m. daily. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to bring it somewhere here, change the color to white, place it somewhere here like this. Let's see, let's make use of the meter rule. Yep. Okay, so you have something like this. So can you see this, guys? Now let's bring this down a little. Let's see this. Let's bring this down a little. The 9 p.m. daily. All right, yeah, so you have this. Now can you see this? So you have the 9 p.m. daily. Now the last thing you want to do, so I did something on this design. So I created a shape and I changed the gradient of the shape. So make use of gradients. The top of the shape is transparent and the bottom part is white. All right, in my previous tutorials I've shown you guys how to do a gradient like this. So the top, the color will be transparent, and the bottom, the color will be white. So you have something like this. So I'm going to mark this, and I'm going to flip this way. I'm going to place it somewhere here, and then I'm going to reduce the opacity to something like this. Can you see this, guys? Just reduce the opacity to something like this. Let me show you guys. 19 opacity. So I'm going to copy again. Check my angle of rotation, minus 44. So this time I'm going to rotate my angle to 44. All right, so because I want to do it for this other side here, so I'm going to place this here like this, and then you have something like this. Can you see this, guys? So you place it here, and then you have something like this. Yeah, so with this we are done with this design in the Pixellab application. But guys, let me see if I can find a background to blend this bottom part of the design. So let me check my gallery. Alright guys, so I just checked my gallery and I couldn't find a perfect background for this, but here's what we're going to do. Now the reason why I'm trying to look for a background is because here at this part of the design is looking a little bit busy because of the patterns on the background here. So I need something to cool it down so that it doesn't look too busy. All right, so that's the reason why I'm looking out for a background. So but here is what we're going to do. So I'm going to click on shapes, and then I'm going to choose gradient, and then I'm going to choose this gradient here. Can you see this, guys? So red gradient and transparent gradient. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to increase this way, and then I'm going to bring it down here. All right, so I'm going to take it to the back. All right, to the back of the image so that it stays somewhere here. All right, so when you look at this, you can see this is the before, and then when you look at this is the after. So it makes it to blend more to the background. All right, so it doesn't look busy. All right, so that's the essence of this. And if you notice that maybe one is not enough, you can decide to duplicate and make it two. All right, two gradients, and then you take it to back, and then you have something like this. Now with this, you are cool, you are good to go. All you need to do is to save your design as image, and then you save as ultra. Now the last thing you would want to do is to enhance your design. All right, and also write the name of the minister. All right, and then enhance your design in the Adobe Lightroom application. If you want to know how to enhance your design in Adobe Lightroom, check below this video in the video description. You're going to see a link to my course on smartphone editing, photo editing for smartphone. Do well to get the course. You're going to learn everything you need to know, A to Z, of the Adobe Lightroom application. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this tutorial. I believe that you've learned something new today, how to blend background and how to make sure that your background speaks the theme of your design, guys. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the resource files for this design. All right, I'm going to be sharing with you guys. I'm not going to be sharing with you guys the image, the picture. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the elements for the background. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the fonts. All right, so you can do well to practice, do something different. All right, and keep practicing, guys. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this tutorial. I look forward to see you in my next tutorial. Until next time, guys.